very warm welcome to St Andrews. It's really nice to have Mike back.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
And Mike and Malcolm and
the jingle. Right.
And yes, sorry, I'm not even open at
we read 1 Kings 10, the kind of state visit of the Queen of Sheba to King Solomon.
Oh, yes.
Which is quite amazing. It feels very lavish and amazing.
Well, state visit affairs are, aren't they? Really,
exactly.
If you think about it, yes.
But does the Queen of Sheba feature much more in the Bible apart from this?
She does. She only she features in about 3 different places. There's a psalm which talks about probably reflecting back to her visit how gold from Sheba will be brought to you, talking to the Messiah. And Jesus talks about her, and he talks about the wisdom of Solomon, how Sheba came to see him, came to see Solomon, and he says, and Solomon who is here.
Right.
And in some ways she could be, I haven't really thought this one through, but she could be a prefiguring of the wise men coming with their gifts to Jesus.
Wow.
Because she's a non-Jew coming.
Right. Who has sort of insights.
Who has insights, but is coming and
that's really interesting.
Is bringing gifts.
Because she is a witness, isn't she, to his wisdom and
his wealth,
general amazingness.
Good morning, Julia. Lovely to see you. Peace be with you. And and I mean it's sort of this last verse. You know, he excelled in riches, in wisdom. In sort of in everything that he had,
But it is amazing because you sort of read it; it almost feels too good to be true. Do you know what I mean? You read it, and you sort of go, "Hang on a moment, is there a catch? Is there a downfall?" I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a little bit too cynical. Maybe, maybe I watched too many Hollywood movies. But
maybe you have to wait.
Oh dear, that sounds ominous.
but in a sense it is. I mean, the last few chapters we've really been presented with Solomon as this man who is blessed by God, builds the temple of God, has all this phenomenal wealth, this wisdom. His kingdom is grown. People respect him. It's a sort of a picture of paradise or a picture of the kingdom.
Right. Because he's basically on sort of doing God's will and is sort of obeyed, and the people of Israel are sort of in line. It's sort of the opposite from some of the other chapters where we read earlier on where everything is terrible, right? Where the land splits in half and gobbles up half the population. All those terrible moments. It's sort of a high.
Yeah.
But is this a little bit of a pride before a fall here, or?
We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see what happens.
So exciting to read the Bible every day.
And then
Netflix series.
And then Acts 17. And I mean, this is Paul and Silas on their journeys, and they're in where are they? Go through these 2 towns and come to Thessalonica, and then they go off to this town called Berea. And very interesting. They go into the synagogues. They preach. People are attracted. Some of the Jewish leaders get jealous and stir up trouble. They have to go on to another place. They preach, and again, they... Yeah,
but what's really interesting is that the second place is Berea. But actually they were more, they seem to be more received. These Jews were more receptive than those of Thessalonica. Welcomed the message, eagerly, and examined the scriptures. But then what was very interesting was that when the Jews of Thessalonica learned that the word of God had been proclaimed in Berea, they came to stir things up. It's amazing that Thessalonica sort of went out of its way to sort of cause trouble. And sort of went, that was rather interesting. But it's interesting. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, for me, it's a sort of Paul and Silas are there, but they're preaching. But when it starts to get either too hot, particularly too hot for their hosts, that's when they leave.
Jason was okay, wasn't he? He was brought before the city officials, but then they did
attack him. They did attack him and beat him up.
Right.
But yeah.
Then they took Bell. So he was targeted. But it is interesting how they're travelling around and they are preaching in all the synagogues.
Yeah.
For me, it's still that really interesting period of early, or it wasn't called Christianity back then, was
Early
it?
of the way, the followers of the way, they call them, say, or the
Right.
followers of Jesus the Messiah.
And they're still Jews, but
They're still Jews, yeah.
and they're doing all this in a synagogue, which I think is amazing.
And they go first to the synagogue, nearly always, and they preach there. And then they will preach there and carry on preaching there for as long as they can until they're thrown out. And when they're
Right.
thrown out, then they preach elsewhere.
But they're saying things that are such anathema to devout Jews. I suppose having things like Gentiles.
Well, that's the thing, saying that the message is not only just for Jews,
But for
that
everyone.
it came from the Jews, but it's for everyone.
Right.
It was something that was very difficult for devout, convinced
Right.
Jews to hear. Yeah.
Interesting. It's fascinating. Anyway.
Brilliant. Have a wonderful day, and hope to see you tomorrow.
Yeah, have a great Wednesday. Right, bye.
Bye-bye.